No! No! No!
What is up, ghosts? You in the mood for some barbecues? You like barbecues?
Yeah.
This is the Horror Pop Extravaganza, baby. This is that place where the macabre meets the mindful, where we take something a little spooky and mix it with something a little special. And even though I guess both those things are special, we smash them together. We do something cool, but I've just, we were talking before this. I'm still kind of laughing at, so I was recording already. And as you know, I am Pops Ghostly. And with me today,
Pinky swallows.
he swallows. We're talking beforehand, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna run and use the bathroom real quick. And I walked back in, and this had happened one time before, and I walked back in and I can see his lips moving. So I know there's something on the recording that's gonna be very special. I might just listen to it, and regardless of how stupid or ridiculous it is, I'm just gonna put it out there into the world and let everybody enjoy it. But now, what's up, peoples? This is the Horror Pop Extravaganza, and we are here with a good one today. Pinky swallows. Fuck, man. Coming up with some good ones. This is the return of the lost episode.
Yeah, dude. I hang on while I check and make sure we're recording.
Okay.
Okay, the numbers are rolling. We're good.
And my side looks like it is. It is correctly recording. But this one, this was back, man, I want to say relatively close to the beginning, right? Within the first maybe
Yeah.
couple months, 2, 3 months.
Yeah. It was an early episode. And we tried to do this same movie on my old podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And something went wrong there too. The sound was like all jacked up.
and so it's crazy that this is like the movie that is finally happening. Third time's a charm. And if anybody has listened to this and heard us ramble about it here and there, you know, we're talking about Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 from 1990. A movie that I wanted to come back to because it holds a really special place in my heart,
As it should.
and as it should. But the trailer holds a special place in my heart.
The trailer that came before the movie was even like conceived.
Dude, yeah, with like the Excalibur coming up, the chainsaw coming up out of the
I
lake.
remember it from when I was little, dude.
And that's the thing. So I'm with a babysitter staying up at my dad's house, and she's in a trailer out on some property, you know what I mean? Probably 40, 50 acres, something like that. And it's wintertime. And we didn't watch the actual movie. I just saw the trailer for it on something, you know, that she had put on or some shit like that. And not thinking about it, a couple hours later, we're out sledding, getting pulled around behind like a four-wheeler or something like that. And I go falling off and I hear a chainsaw.
Oh my God.
I fucking panicked, dude. I fully believe that trailer was so well cut that I felt and you know, I'm a child at the time. I'm very young at this time, but still not thinking, hey, somebody's cutting wood. It's wintertime. You have to keep yourself warm. A lot of farmers still have wood burning stoves. That's the world we live in. But I was like, fuck no, dude. Chainsaw is coming. If it comes up out of the water like that, it's coming after me no matter what. And I remember hopping back on the little sled thing and be like, fuck, go. Ah! Please don't leave me. But yeah, this is the third installment into the Chainsaw franchise. You had, you know, Toby Hooper came out, but the original, which everybody knows, it's super iconic by this point. Even if you don't know any of the movies, if you've never seen them, you've heard the term most likely Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Chainsaw Massacre or something like that. Stemmed from the Ed Gein stuff, then Toby Hooper being trapped in a big box store and wanting to get out and seeing a chainsaw and be like, that'd be a good way to get out. And you also have Kim Hinkle. I don't know if it's Hinkle or Hinkle, who was a big part of the first couple flicks as well. I don't know if she was attached to this one. I wasn't paying close enough attention as I was rewatching it, but by this point, you know, we've gone through Really, I mean, he wanted some of it to be dark comedy, and there's some great dark comedy in the original Chainsaw. There's some great
Yeah,
dark comedy, but for the most part, it's fucking terrifying, man.
yeah.
And it still holds up as being a scary movie. If you sit alone in the dark by yourself and watch Sally go through that metamorphosis from just, oh, da 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 da, to I can't push you, Franklin, to fucking, and flies all over by her eyeballs and stuff. Then we get to part two, Stretch playing the lead character, uh, coupled with Dennis Hopper, which is super rad, and then Bill Moseley as Chop Top, of course, is everybody just fucking loves that character for very good reason. Very Mosley's amazing, dude. You give the guy some makeup and stuff, and he's so good. And then it would be a few years. And Chainsaw, like a lot of other horror properties, suffered from distribution problems and ownership. Who owns the rights to this? And this was after the fucking video boom of the 80s. We're now getting into the 90s a little bit. People are shuffling cards. It's always just, hey, what property is worth a couple bucks? Somebody or New Line picks up Texas Chainsaw as a property, says, hey, we're going to put this thing out. And we get to Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, the trailer that scared the shit out of me. The movie that when I saw it the first time scared the shit out of me. And then after subsequent viewings and growing up with it and shit like that, I'm like, dude, this fucker is a lot of fun. It's a really good. So why don't you put it all out there? What does IMDb think it's about? Who is in it? Who directed it? And yeah, how did this thing happen?
So we've got the director as Jeff Burr. Now, I think from our
Know
previous
that
episode,
name.
what's that? Jeff Burr?
Yeah, you talked about that from the previous episode. I feel like there
Right,
was something there, right?
right. Well, the writers are what we got into like a crazy argument about because this is who's listed as the writers.
Yes.
Jim Hinkle,
Yep.
Toby Hooper,
Right.
and David J. Shaw, who wrote The Crow.
Which is all good shit though, because even if and I don't know, I don't know if Toby Hooper and them actually wrote this or they just, hey, you're putting our names in there because we created the characters.
Right. What I read was that Toby Hooper did an entire pass. He wanted to come back. He wanted to bring it back to the original, and the studio was like, this is way too fucked up. I can't even imagine what that movie was. I would love to see
I would
like
love to
that
have seen
script.
it, dude. Yeah, that would have been cool to see.
But what they said that Jeff Burr had the same problem is that he turned this in 17 times before he finally got a fucking R rating
And that's
because
the
they kept
crazy
X rating it.
studio. Yeah, that's the crazy that time period, dude. 89, like 85 to fuck maybe even 82. I don't know when the video nasties really started and the fucking MPAA got crazy. It was like, yo, fuck it, you can't have nothing, blah, blah, blah. You remember we were supposed to have that full porn scene in fucking Friday 7 you were telling me
Yeah,
about. The director was like, yo. And they were like, no,
yeah, they shot like an 8 minute long hump scene.
home scene.
But
But
yeah, it's
that
crazy that
sucks, man. Yeah, that it got pushed back that many times because again, by today's standards, where Terrifier 3 is fucking blowing the independent box office out of the water. It's some like $83 million was its total global pull on a $2 million budget, dude. Crazy. So I would have loved to have seen that version of this and the other version of Friday the 13th, where it didn't get cut and chopped up and what we might have got. Because this one is cool across the fucking board, in my opinion, with the kills and with the effects. How much more were we going to get from this stuff? The set pieces are super dope. So who knows? Just one of those things that,
well,
wow, wow, wow.
yeah. Well, I guess they cut it so much that Jeff Burr wanted his name taken off, which happens a lot with horror movies. They want that fucking Alan Smithy title.
Right.
And they tried to get it, he tried to get his name pulled off of it, but they had already like made prints of the first half of the movie to ship out to theaters. And that had his name as the director. And they're like, we're not going to fucking reprint this movie. We don't have the money for that. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Damn. That sucks.
But can you imagine how disappointing, dude? You get your hands on a franchise like this, and then the fucking critics just take it away from you, you know?
I mean, that is, a lot of people thinks this movie fucking sucks. And I do understand some of that. For me, it might be a Halloween 6 situation where I'm blinded by nostalgia because this is one of the first chainsaws I feel like I remember owning, and I watched it quite a bit, and I loved these fucking characters, man. Like they were so different, so goofy. It's a very different, not it doesn't even feel like Texas most of the time. It feels like fucking Louisiana or maybe California, somewhere different. But yeah, so maybe I do have the nostalgia blinders. But when you look at, what, continue on with the cast and stuff because I don't want to spoil any of that for maybe somebody who doesn't know much about Chainsaw 3.
Right. And I will say that I saw it as an adult and I really appreciate this movie for what it is. Like, I think it's really cool. I wish I would have seen it back in the day. But you did mention California. It was filmed in California.
Was
Uh,
it?
and he wanted to film in Texas. And they were like, well, we already built the house in California. So you got to film in California.
And can you imagine as a creative force? I think about that even on a small scale for myself, sitting down to do a piece of art, a tattoo that I have a vision for. And every time I try to like start even the design, somebody's like, nah, you can't put that in there. Nah, you
Right.
can't do that in there. Nah, you got to take that out. Nah, that can't be. That would be really, that would be hard, man. That would be
That's
really
the
hard.
problem with taking over a franchise instead of just doing like a Terrifier that's like your own thing.
Right.
Make your own thing, people.
Make your own thing.
All right, we're gonna get into the cast. Kate Hodge as Michelle. She's great in this.
Crushes it, dude. Crushes it.
Ken Foray, who's like fucking a horror movie icon. I
God
got
really
to meet
liked
him
it.
at an early Comic Con. He was super cool.
He seems like a super rad dude. Like he's just
Yeah,
um he's been a genre guy, I mean, since the 70s.
right.
And he did it all the way. Is he still alive? I hate to even ask that. I don't know if Ken's
He is.
still.
I don't know.
I think he is because I know Tony just passed, Tony Todd, not
Yeah.
too long ago. But I feel like I might have noticed, but I really don't pay attention to shit much anymore like that. Um, but yes, him showing up, Ken Foree is one of my favorites, dude. I've talked about, him and Michael Berryman and The Devil's Rejects is some of the best horror cinema of all time. Like,
Yeah.
you don't look like you fucked them chickens, but he looked like he'll fuck a chicken. I'm so good, dude. But
He
yes.
was filming Dawn of the Dead when I met him, and he
Oh,
told me he was like, in this one, he's like, I just get to play a cameo, but he was like, I get to say the fucking famous line, when hell is full, then the dead will walk the earth. And I was like, oh, badass, dude.
dude, that's so cool you got to beat him. I wish
Yeah.
I got a chance to beat him and shake that dude's hand. Maybe I still can. I don't know. He could still be kicking around and shit. Maybe he'll do it for Brexit. Who
Yeah,
knows?
dude.
Yeah.
He signed a Dawn of the Dead poster for me, and I had it in a shed, and it got fucking water damage on it, dude. Ruined it.
So whose fault is that?
That is God's fault for fucking raining on my parade,
It's your fault for leaving a signed poster in a shed.
right?
Anyway, yes, but you got to meet him. That's even cooler than any poster would be anyway, dude.
Right, I got the memories, dude. R.A. Milhoff played Leatherface in this.
Kills it. I really
Scary
like.
Leatherface.
Yeah, man. And the effects. I didn't take a look at who did the effects, but I feel like it was somebody.
Savini like touched around this movie, but was busy doing other stuff.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yes, I think like they were talking to Savini. He probably threw some ideas in there. But
Right.
I feel like every horror movie, like Savini was just like walking around sets and shit. Like, what's going on, guys? What'd be cool right here is if you cut this guy's dick off.
He just pops up out of like behind some bushes and it's like you get some lightning and thunder. He gives you a little hint and then you just fuck goes away. It's beanie magic.
Got that sex machine gun on. He's like,
Just shoots ideas at your brain. Idea for you. Idea for you. Idea for you.
oh shit. William Butler plays Ryan, just the Weasleyiest motherfucker.
Dude, I love this guy. And he's the one that I fell in love with. Or no, he's her boyfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking of the swamp guy.
Oh, okay.
The gas station attendant. Yeah. And he is very just like fucking all the time about everything. And I'm like,
Almost as bad as Franklin, dude.
nowhere near as bad as Franklin. Nowhere near. Franklin sits downstairs, looks up at the fucking shit. He's like,
That's true. He does.
Oh, there's a trail over there between them two old sheds. Oh, he's always like, yeah, we'll have fun. It's like, shut the fuck up, Franklin. I know it's hot, but be quiet. You don't got to be so angry about it. I mean,
No legs, dude.
he did almost get blown into a ditch by a semi fuck tried to piss into a coffee can. So his day didn't start out that great. So maybe it was just one. That really was you instead of calling it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could call it Franklin Hardy's really big, really bad day. That's what the fuck it is.
Dude, you should make a kid's book.
From Franklin's perspective the whole time
Yeah, dude.
in the woods. Where's the keys? And it's just his fucking face. Sally. All right. Please continue. We're never gonna get to the movie.
Yeah, yeah. There's some guy we never heard of, Viggo Mortensen, playing tag. Dude.
Yeah. Awesome.
This, if nothing else, dude, this franchise like gave us A-list actors later on in life.
So many horror franchises, dude. So many did. You know, it was for a long time, it was a gateway into the industry, was to do a smaller. Well, this wasn't even smaller, you know, this was a New Line thing. So it was a gateway into the studio to get recognized into the studio system. He had already done a couple other things. But yes, this is his first, I think, feature that he ever did. Maybe some commercials. I don't know, remember all the specifics, but yeah. Very young Vigo playing a very fucking weird character. In the next sequel, we'd get Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. You know, the studios all or their agents trying to get that shit shelved. They're like, never let anyone see it. But yes, Vigo shows up and it's fucking rad. Ton of fun.
We got Joe Unger as Tinker.
So he's the mechanic with the machines. Gotta have machines.
Yeah, I feel like he built McConaughey's leg in the next one.
I think you're right. Yeah, right. I would like to think so too, because again, these characters are fun. You know, they're different. They're not just the straight cannibal family. So it does take away a little of the horror, I think, because they almost become cartoon characters, with one guy being the, you know, the mechanic, grandma talking with her thing, like, come over here and sit on my lap, baby. And then the next cat, what's his name? The next guy on the list.
Tom Everett as Alfredo.
Yes, Alfredo is the one that I really like. Yes. Think I'm some sort of fucking dummy, don't you? Thank you. Yeah, he's a ton of fun. And they're all very big, though. Very, I don't know, just well written, kind of fun, but still a little bit scary at the same time. And again, I might just be so desensitized to this because I've seen it probably 100 times since I was fucking, you know, however old when I got my hands on it, 12, 10, something like that. But yeah, it's fun. So keep going, please.
I remember us fighting about this too. Jennifer Banco as the little girl, and you were like, no, it's not her.
Yes, it is. All I remember is that's the little girl from Friday the 13th, part 7. When she's the little one in the lake, when she's small Tina, and she's like, Daddy, no, at the beginning. This is same girl that's in this one right here. But I don't remember, and I'm not going to argue with you again because I don't remember anything beyond that right now. So if I did argue with you before.
She was the punk rock chick from Nightmare. That's what it says in here. She was like in the Dream Warriors where she had like switchblades and shit.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
And
you were like, no, that's not the same girl, but that's what it says. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that. We'll leave IMDb with what it is. All right. But what does this say this movie is about?
Yeah. Let's get to that. This one is like, for sure, dude. Like, this is probably the best one I've ever seen. A California couple and a survivalist encounter Leatherface and his family. Period.
And that shit is spot on, though. That is exactly what the fuck happens in this movie.
Sure, yeah.
California couple and a survivalist. So you mentioned some of the stuff at the beginning about this being plagued with, you know, cutting things, and there's stories across the horror genre of stuff getting edited down to almost nothing. And that's a big bummer because, man, the shit we could have seen. And this one is cool though. I like this movie a lot. because it takes what made the first two movies cool, I think. The second one made it a little more modern, a little more funny. The first one was super brutal, whereas the second one took you to that weird underground lair, which is a little bit strange. The old amusement park is hard for some park. I fuck every time I hear it, park. It sounds like some Midwest bird going to the park. So this one is more of an amalgamation, I think, of those two things. But we open up credits like we always get the title crawl, August 18th, 1970, blah, 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 blah. Never found. Leatherface was an alias for somebody else. Either way, they're just throwing us right back into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We have this couple traveling across California, but before that, we see a shallow grave. And
Yeah,
it's,
it's like excavating it. It's gnarly.
yeah, more grease, more grease. It's very, very slimy and visceral. And we get the news report. That was always one of my favorite things about the original Chainsaw is that opening news. Like if you actually listen while you're just slow panning in on that fucking couple of corpses made up into the crazy thing. But in this, we see a couple of the cleanup crew talking, and he's like, "Wow, I should have went to fucking real estate, like my dad said. This is bad." And he's like, "Oh, don't touch that shit. It's all poisonous now. There's slippage and shit or something on it." And they go through the roadblock. Hey, I'm a fucking med student. Is there anything I can do to help? And they're like, "No, get out of here. You're an idiot." And
That's the exact dialogue from the film.
pretty sure that's word for word.
Oh shit!
Sorry.
Gotta watch out on that water, dude. It's
No, dude.
tough.
Trying to get a real drink. You got me laughing over here, though. So they go through, and now we're daytime in what is supposed to be Texas, and they hit an armadillo. They're arguing about how he's like, it doesn't even matter. When we get there, we're not going to be together anyway. Because he's got his headphones on the whole time. She's like, can we at least talk? He's like, I don't know.
Again, perfect representation of that character.
But you know what I mean. His presentation is this dude that's kind of like you said, a little nerdy, a little squirrely, very sensitive to everything that's said to him. And she is already presenting as the more dominant of the two. I would say level-headed, maybe not dominant, but level-headed of the two. Like, hey, we're fucking adults, dude. We're driving across the country, and he's like, "You're just gonna go to New York and then bye-bye, or you're in Florida, and I gotta fuck fly Bermuda, Air Bermuda." So they're looking at each other arguing. She turns around and then thump, they hit a fucking armadillo on the road. They go out there and he puts it out of the misery because she can't do it at
Can't
first.
do it.
Yeah, she can't do it at first. And smash, smash. And this is where I think we get the first line like there's roadkill all over Texas
Yeah.
because that will come back a little bit later on. Now they've got to stop to get gas, and they stop. And I'm pretty sure they filmed this in that place I was telling you about in Spokane, Washington, where there was the fucking handprints over the toilet seat that was covered in flies. And I do have a witness who can verify all of these details with me. It can happen. But this gas station is gross. And you
Yeah.
got this.
Go to the mobile station, people. Don't ever go to some like no name Burt's Gas and Fun or whatever.
No, it was last chance. Last chance because it said it on the truck too. Last chance gas.
Gas.
I guess if it's called that, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, maybe I have to. I don't have a choice."
Yeah, next gas could be who knows.
Right. And I've been in those situations driving across like Arizona and
Dude,
California.
Arizona. That's with me too. No gas for like 45 miles and I was on fumes, dude.
I've been there with you, dude. In a fucking moving truck. I was in like a 26-foot moving truck. Either way, they've got to stop at this gas station. And this is where we meet Alfredo out front. And I really like this guy.
The best.
One cataract fucking eye that's always twitching. He's real skinny and real like methy. If somebody had a character trait that was methy, it's this guy. He's just cutting up titty magazines, news magazines, into a bunch of different stuff. And they come up and he's like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" Oh, but he likes her right away, and she's like, fucking gross. But quickly, he's like, "Oh, get some fuck gas for you, whatever." And Tex comes up, and he's showing him on the map, like, "Hey," and this is Viggo Mortensen. He's fucking young, handsome, like
Handsome as
cowboy
fuck,
hat
dude.
on, yeah, cowboy hat, little,
Charisma.
oh, everything, just oozing
Yeah,
charisma.
dude. He was like Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise, dude. He just comes in and he just looks like a cowboy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Very much the same. But he don't get played like Brad Pitt got fucking played up, or I guess he tried to play them up and then got played. You know what I mean? So he shows up and is showing old dude on the map. He's like, "No, bro, look, like if you take the main highway," he's like, "but if you take this road, it's a little bit quicker." He's like, "Well, that's not on the map." He's like, "Well, of course it is because it's not because they want you to whatever, take the fucking side road that's not on the map. It'll get you there faster, I promise." Meanwhile, she goes in, or at first I think she's in the car and he's filling up the gas tank from behind. And he's like, "Oh, you like that, don't you? I'm gonna fill you right up real good." And he even snatches like the hitchhiker in the first one, the Polaroid. He's like, "That's a fuck good picture, $5. $5. Give me $5." Now she goes into the bathroom and he very Norman Bates is peeking from behind this thing and he's fucking she sees him peeking in and shit like that. She runs outside like we got to get the fuck out of here. What's going on? Oh, he's fucking crazy. And he comes out with a shotgun. Alfredo's got this shotgun and Texas like get the fuck out of here. And they're like, "Ah, man." Especially her dude Ryan or whatever his name is like, and they take off. Fuck, boom, boom. Fucking back window gets shot out. Oh no. And he turns around to look and sees Tex get shot. What looks like he gets shot. We learn later that, of course, nobody in the Chainsaw family, they're all related, dude. If you ever meet any one of them anywhere, just fucking, you got to get within 150 miles to get to somebody who's probably not related. But he sees and he's like, "Oh shit, the cowboy fuck got shot. Go, 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 go." And so they're going, going, going. Turns into, I don't know if it's nighttime yet, but they get a flat tire.
Yeah.
That what happens first?
It's always a flat tire, dude. It's always car trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot of car trouble in this though, because we meet Ken Foree's character pretty quick, and he is out doing a survival thing for the weekend, like fucking jamming in his Jeep and shit, just being cool as fuck. Again, just fucking oozes charisma, dude. Like I'll hang out with this fool. Like he just seems like a cool cat. But I want to say he doesn't come across them for a little while. This is where I'm a little hung up. I can't remember if they crash first and then he finds them and then no, because they get run off the road and he finds them.
Yeah.
Right. They get run off the road by the truck. And that's the first time we see this big, bad, fucking covered in deer skin, bungee cords all over the place type vehicle. They take off, are trying to hide, and then they come across him, and he's trying to hear some pain meds, and they're like, "No, it's gonna make us fucking tired. We can't do that." And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get some help." And then he runs into Tinker. I doubt
Tink.
it was Tink. Yeah, I was gonna say I doubt it was Tink. I'll just start calling him Tink from now on. And then he runs into Tinker and he's got these flares, fuck, psh, you got yourself fuck turned over there, brother. We got the means, we got the machines. And he's ready to like help him out. And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's behind his shit trying to load a fucking gun because he's like, this. Oh, he looked in the back of his truck, I think, and saw some fucked up shit. And then was
Yeah.
like, "Oh man." And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, just a second, I'll be right there." And he jumps in his truck and fucking rams his car off the road. Now he's lost in the woods. We run into this other girl who's been out there for a fucking week eating a fucking rat. Like,
Yeah, dude. She's like feeding off armadillo and shit. She's
right.
ground feral.
Right. She's out there all fucked up. Like they're watching the roads, they're doing this. And because up to this point, Ken didn't really believe it. He's like, "Nah, this ain't," and then she's like, "Nah, man, it's fucking real. Like this shit's crazy. They're out here doing all this crazy shit." The other two still on the run. Um, And then Leatherface shows up to kill Ken Foree's character, but she's like, "Hey, over here, motherfucker!" She's yelling from the bushes, and he gets distracted by the one that got away. And I love seeing the ignorance. I love seeing the ignorance of Leatherface in this because I've always said that he's just fucking misunderstood, dude. He was a dog raised by the wrong people. That's exactly what happened to this man. All he wanted was something to eat, and he don't understand the difference between Santa and a burrito. So he,
What the
so
fuck? That's like
we'll get there. We'll
a
get there.
catchphrase.
Right. We could just probably pull clips from all this shit and we could do something with it. Um, so she distracts Leatherface. He takes off, and then I can't remember when our dude gets caught up. When the boy Ryan, the fucking whiny guy, because I know he's
Like
the
bleeding
first
from the
one.
head or something, right?
Yeah, I know he's the first one to get like hung upside down and shit and killed. But there's also, dang, how did that happen? Now I'm kind of forgetting. I don't know if you can remember off the top of your head, but how they both he gets caught up first. We do see old girl, the rat girl, die in the woods.
Right.
Then Ken Foree runs into Alfredo out by the swamp. And this is a fucking really creepy but kind of funny scene where he's holding the head up. He's like, I remember you. I love you. And he's like kissing this fucking severed head. In the soup you go. He's like, soup yet? And I'm just like, this dude is weird. And he turns around and Ken Foree's got a fucking gun in his face. And he's like, whoa, mister. He's like, do I know you? He's like, what kind of sick fucking bullshit? He's like, I don't like being talked to that way, you know? And he fucking butts him up, hems him up, leaves him in the swamp. We assume dude's dead. And while walking in the woods, he does encounter some of the traps, the tripwires. And I love these wood scenes. Like this shit was shot well. You know,
Yes.
the night scenes look really good. They're not too dark. You can still see everything that's going on. All of the various set pieces. The gas station really feels fucking gross and disgusting. The house is super cool. I get why they wanted to keep it. You know, they probably invested a lot of money into building that house. But fuck, shoot all the exteriors in Texas and do the rest. You know what I mean? Do what you
Yeah,
got to do
there's
in
a
the
few too
house.
many pine trees for my liking.
Mm. Very swampy and piney.
Yeah.
I don't know Texas all that well, but I know swamp areas and I know where pine trees go or grow. And I don't know. I've been across Texas and I didn't see a lot of them. And I drove across the whole state. And so maybe there's some south. I doubt it gets like pinier and wetter the souther you go, but
Right.
yeah, this is definitely doesn't feel like it's like watching Halloween, dude, when you see the palm trees. At least those are way the fuck in the back. You know, you have to be paying attention to even notice that shit. This is right up front in your face. So he knocks him, boom, finds some traps. He's like, what kind of sick fucking shit is this? And he's all loaded up, geared up, and ready to go. The two now get taken to the house, and we get quite a bit of interaction in the house before shit really starts going south. We're introduced to Grandpa, who is now just like a dust bag with blood drool running out of his mouth. Oh, because she runs in. That's the thing. She runs in and finds the little girl upstairs.
The little girl like lures her in.
Yeah, to the
Yeah.
bedroom. And it's like, this is Sally. Rah! And stabs her in the bone. And she's like, we got to poke you so you can leak. And you got to leak so we can feed Grandpa. And then pretty soon, Viggo Mortensen's got her hemmed up. Like, I thought you had somewhere to go. Her boyfriend's getting strung up by the ankles. Leatherface gets a super dope new chainsaw. So I have a chainsaw tattoo. When I first got into decided like I'm going to pursue tattooing, I started drawing some flash sheets and stuff like that. Shit I thought was cool. And one of them was a little keychain of a chainsaw. You might be able to. It's right here. It's a little keychain of a
Yeah, dude.
chainsaw that I got to get it touched up right in there, but the blade says family on it. And I always love that saying, you know, the saw is family. Even though all of these families in these movies are doing really heinous shit, they're really close families for the most part. We get
Probably too close, buddy.
probably too close. You're right. We get a great sequence with Tinker taking Leatherface's fucking Walkman and throwing it in the thing. 'Cause he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have even given you your present because you forgot to get one." And they know that Ken Forehe's still out there somewhere. So he grabs his headphones and fucking chucks it in the oven. And then Leatherface like turns around and grabs him by the fucking throat. And this is a good Leatherface mask. It's a good Leatherface underneath. The intensity of the eyes, all of it is just sweet. He grabs him by the fucking neck and he puts him in front of the oven like, you get that shit out now. And he goes to reach in with his metal hand and he pulls the metal hand back and he's like, nah, fucking use your strong hand and shit. He puts the flesh hand in and Mama's like, Junior, stop. And Tex is like, no, let him do it, Mama. Oh, I get it, boy. I get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get us some dinner. And he calls him something else. He's like, I told you to call me Tex. And we see this weird, softer side of Viggo Mortensen. You know, there's really no gender for any of these characters. Everything is like hyper fluid for all of them because he's now got his nails all painted up, wearing like the traditional 50s cooking apron, you know, that you would see. Yeah, it was very much an affront on that idealistic family. And so from here, little girl's going up to do something, or she's sitting with grandma hanging out. They're getting ready to fillet this dude. They pull his underwear down and like, look, mama, colored drawers. California. He's got blue underwear. Meanwhile, Leatherface is sitting in this little office space on his own, and he's got a busted fucking speak and say. I'm sure they couldn't use a real speak and say, so they were just like, use the screen and just knock all the cover off, you know, make it function. And he's in there doing that while Ken Forehe's walking and he starts peeking in the window. And the little thing is, it shows a little picture of Santa Claus. And it's like, what is this? Type it in. And Leatherface is typing FOOD. Doo, 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 doo. Nope. Try again. FOOD. Nope. Try again. You know, he's this misunderstood monster. And they're getting ready to kill her now in the kitchen, real close to it. And that's when Ken Foree just starts to fucking unload from outside. And he's like, fuck this. Da, 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 da. Starts spraying all through the side of the house. I think we see Grandpa get shot in the face and it's all dust. Like maybe Grandma might take one in the neck. I don't remember exactly who all goes down. But we have Leatherface, Viggo. I don't know if Tinker, does he get a... I don't know if we see him actually die.
There's so much like misdirection in this movie where we think people died and then they didn't die. You know, they pop up later. So yeah, I'm not sure.
And it could also be that his, you know, reappearance got cut or whatever.
That too, yeah.
Absolutely. I don't remember her. I know the big fights are now that we're outside. We get to see her, who she plays a great fuck. She gets spikes right through her hands into the chair. She pulls those fuckers off and she plays that madness, that psychosis really, really well. Just fucking, she's out by the barn, you know, getting chased around. She's like, come on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, she's nuts. Ken Foree's out there with Viggo, and this is where you get again some more of the dark comedy. He's like, "Why you sick fuckers doing this? We're hungry." Like, you know what I mean? He's like, "Well, have you ever heard of a pizza?" And he's like, "I like liver and onions." You get these one-liners going as they're beating the shit out of each other. With a little girl very creepy up in the window, like doing these weird chop noise or chop motions. And they fight. He's about to die. And he punctures the gas on the truck. And Vigo's getting ready to fucking kill Ken Foree with an axe. And then he takes the lighter out. And there's probably another great one-liner that I'm forgetting and fucking lights him up. But boom. And there goes Viggo on fire. I love seeing a guy in a suit on fire. You know, when it's a real person, dude, it always looks fucking cool. I don't care.
Yeah,
you know, somebody's brave enough to get their fucking crazy ass in that suit and be like, light the bitch up.
Yeah, dude. Crazy. Yeah. And they even say like that's like one of the most like reproduced stunts, but one of the most dangerous. Because you have no oxygen for the whole time you're on fire.
Right. Because it's just burning up all the oxygen. Yeah, there's nothing for you to, crazy. And I think the first one was in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he rode that bitch like from the basement all the way up the stairs. And they even said like you only had to go a couple stairs, and he just kept fucking going. Like man, that is commitment. I guess if you're the guy who's gonna do it the first time, you're like, I am fucking crazy. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
I won't just do it. Fuck, sign me up, man. Those are like the evil Knievel types who are like, yeah, let's do it. And that's why we
Yeah,
have
those guys aren't scientists. So like the first time they went up and he couldn't breathe, he was like, "Oh shit."
right. He's just in there holding his breath, having fun. So Vigo gets lit up. Leatherface is after her and chases her through the woods for a while. She gets stuck on a trap then around her leg that sucks her into the swamp. Boom! And it's pulling her
That was
fast.
cool, dude.
Yeah, it was really cool. And she's stuck on it gets stuck on a tree branch for a second. You think she might cut herself free, but then it breaks down, pulls her all the way into the swamp. Leatherface was right behind her. Bruh. And he's just about to get her once he gets up there. And then we got Ken shows up, fucking like boom, tackles him into the water. Get a really cool water fight. Again, it's
Hell yeah.
very well lit. The chainsaw the whole time's in the water, like, yeah, just spraying water all over. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that engine would have been flooded the fuck
Yeah.
out and just like
Yeah, dude.
ruined by this point. But it was still really cool. It's shooting water everywhere. They're fighting. She's watching from the shore. We think they're both dead. And then Leatherface grabs her and he grabs her ankles and she picks up a rock and commences to bash his fucking face in like they did at the armadillo, like she couldn't do with the armadillo in the opening sequence. Just bam, bam, bam. And there goes Leatherface down into the water. Blub, 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 blub. She walks. I want to say we cut now to her walking just on a open, dusty road, a Texas intersection somewhere. Looks like there's nowhere to go. Distraught, disheveled. And this truck comes fucking popping down the road and it pulls up next to her and it says last chance for gas. And she's like, no, no, no. And the door opens and fuck Ken Voorhees there, like, yay. Oh, it's me. Don't worry, it's me. And she's like, oh, perfect, dude. Like, yeah, you're alive. I thought you fucking died in the swamp. He's like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. And then he puts her in the truck, goes to walk around the truck. And just as he's opening the door, he catches a sledgehammer to the back of the fucking head or the neck, fucking tink. And now he's down. And there's Alfredo standing there. I'm back. Fucking smashing in all the windows. Thought you were getting away, weren't you? And him and her commence on to fight for a bit, kick each other around, and then she gets to draw on him with the shotgun. And he's like, oh, I fucking hate it when this happens. And he's like, I bet you don't even know, or dumb little city bitch like you don't even know what to do with a thing like that. Want to bet, motherfucker? He gets blown away. There he goes flying onto the dirt. Ken's okay. He gets back up and no, he doesn't fly into the dirt. He flies into the back of the truck and then they pull him out, leave him, and say there's roadkill all over Texas. Fucking, we did have some cool music in this too. There was some like sweet metal and shit when they started fighting. But yeah, in a nutshell, that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 from 1990. One
Yeah.
that we've been trying to record. Seems like ages.
You keep beating us, Leatherface, but this time we got your ass.
Right. We got you. All right. So out of 5 crazy Alfredos, how many do you give Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3?
Dude, I love this movie. I give it a 4, dude. I think that it's just like a well-made, like it didn't break any new ground, but it put all the elements that were awesome from different things together, and that's always the best for me. Like that's the best you can do is take elements from other things and fucking make them cool in your thing.
Right. And I'm with you. I'm going a straight 4 on this one. And I'm looking at this one even just from a franchise standpoint. I've seen every movie in the franchise multiple times. Even the worst ones I've seen, like that fucking Origin movie, man, is really bad. But this one stands out. If somebody asked me, they were like, yo, I want to watch a fun Texas Chainsaw movie, I'd be like, okay, the original, Leatherface Part 3. I know a lot of people really like that first Michael Bay, and it's not bad. I like Arlie Ermy as Sheriff Hoyt is fucking terrifying, dude. Like, that's some scary shit when he's smelling the gun. What you boys been doing with this girl? Ugh.
Well,
Um, but yeah, I think it's really well made. I'm bummed we didn't get the cut that the director probably had in mind. But the characters, it's well acted across the board. There's nothing. It's just a really well made horror flick. Like,
yeah.
without any sort of message, deeper message or anything like that. It's just like, let's go on a fun fucking crazy ride. And it works. And I
At a
like it.
time period when like horror was straight up trash most of the time.
Dude, yeah, yeah, because you're coming off of 89. That was, Halloween 5, Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday, or no, that was Friday. Yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan, Halloween 5, and Nightmare 5. Fucking Dream Child.
I feel like the whole 90s was rough for horror. There was a few gems in there, but
The 90s had some good stuff, Scream being the standout, I think, for the 90s.
I think that reinvigorated horror movies. It
Right.
reinvigorated the slasher for sure.
Right. But then you had a lot of spin-offs like Bloody Mary or Bloody Murder, Bloody Mary, Urban Legend,
What you
um,
did last
which
summer.
we did last summer, which those also fun in their own right. And for someone like me, those are my teenage years, so they all hold a little bit of a special place. But yeah, this is a great movie. So if you've never seen it, go check it out. I don't know where you were able to watch it. I own it, so I watched it a lot. I own it on DVD, I think Blu-ray and maybe not Blu-ray, but DVD and digital. So I don't know if you remember. So if somebody
It was
wanted,
hard to find. Because like I went on and said, "Where do you stream this fucker?" And they said Pluto TV. It's not on Pluto TV. Prime has it to buy or rent, so you can
okay.
rent it cheap.
So yeah, I think it was like on iTunes. You could rent it and stuff too. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
if you really want to check it out, or you could go to your local FYE before they close and every mall in America closes and probably get it for like $2 or $3. It's a fucking winner and a keeper anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Now on to the mindfulness portion of our show. I'm going to go to I recently started reading a new book that I want to quote from my buddy Thich Nhat Hanh. This is from a little section he talked about making peace. He's talking about making peace. But the quote, it's just one sentence. When there are wars within us, it will not be long before we at war with others, even those we love. When there are wars
Hear
within
that, Tickman.
dude, take that on, man. I'm telling you. He really got me wound out. A lot of this book, he's talking about his time spent with Martin Luther King Jr. And, the fact that Dr. King nominated Thich Nhat Hanh for the Nobel Peace, that's just, to me, screams volumes. You know what I mean? Like they were two fucking peace warriors, dude, like trying and trying. And even if, you don't see the fruition right in front of you instantaneously, it's still worth all the effort to try. But this is really important. The wars that we carry, you've recently got out of a war, a mental war.
Sort of like it's 2 weeks that I gave, and so
Yeah.
I'm still in there, and it's weird, dude. It's
Oh, I'm
really
sure.
weird.
I'm sure. But you are probably feeling, this is the end of like the victory is secured. Now
Right?
there's
Yeah, yeah.
still people, like you said, it's weird. This must have been like after World War II when they're still corralling up, Germans and shit all over the place. You're just like they're like, fuck.
This is Normandy Day 2. Yeah, where you're just on the beach and you're like, fuck.
What just happened?
Yeah, there's a lot of bodies behind me, but there's still some fuckers that need killing up front.
But if we carry our wars, it and I struggle a lot with the idea of people that say self-love, like I love myself.
Right.
Because it's become something I feel that it's not in the sense where I observe it. Self-love to me is I'm going to tend to myself like I would tend to a friend in need, to somebody I love and care about. How would I tend to them or try to help them? I'm going to try and help myself in the same exact way. Because until we have the ability to truly be kind to ourselves, I don't think we can be kind outwardly. Like a true kindness. You can do that fake shit all day.
Right.
You can do the surface level, like, hey, it's so nice to see you. You know what I mean? But there's
Yeah.
something fucking underneath there. You
Yeah.
can do that all day. Or you can pretend all day, and then when you go home, you can fucking scream about it and yell about it and, do those things all day. But until we can be kind to ourselves and fight those wars that are going on within us and be like, okay, I'm going to be an active participant in this war instead of just accepting this war is happening in me and I guess it happens in me. It could be the war of anxiety or the war of depression, the war of addiction, the war of really anything. But if we look and say, okay, I am going to address this war, I'm going to become an active participant in, and then that war is over. Now there's free space where you can be like, okay, now I'll fill that with something new. And hopefully that would be, kindness, compassion, and those things. And now you have a reserve of that shit to give away to somebody else because you've dealt with all your own internal battles and all your own internal wars. And it is very true. I think we see it all the time in relationships where somebody will have like a shit day at work and then they come home and they fucking pointed at their family or they point at their spouse. The spouse and family didn't do anything,
Right.
right? Because it's a war that is at that time is raging so big, you have to like let some of it out. It's like a pressure valve. Like some of it has to come out at some point. And so, if we can eliminate those wars, like Thich Nhat Hanh saying, if we can eliminate those things, I believe it then gives us the capacity to be much more compassionate, much more understanding, much more loving people. And those wars might try to start again, but it's a lot easier once you know how to fight and you can, combat it much earlier on as opposed to just being like, oh, it's getting bigger. And then, you're feeding the battle and all these things. So what do you have to add to Pinky Stink Toe? What was it? Pinky Eater? Pinky Stink Lick?
Ew. Pinky swallows.
Yeah, I like how you say ew and then pee swallows. Okay, no, go ahead, please.
No, I agree. I think that self-love is something that you can't do until you've been through that battle. It is a war trying to beat down your demons. And I don't think that anybody can ever slay those demons forever. They do, they come back up, but you can get it to a place where it's all manageable and then you can start to improve on yourself. But you got to get through that war before you can start working on yourself. And I feel like that's exactly where I'm at right now. Like I've gone through the war, I've done the due diligence of what I needed to do, and I did my battles, and now I have to start like working on myself.
Yeah.
So
With
that the next time the war comes up, first off, I can probably avoid it because I'm going to see it coming better.
Absolutely, dude. Hopefully, don't lose perspective. Too often we fall
Right.
victim to time. Time has an effect on perspective that really
Yeah.
can fuck with us. But yeah, when you hold
Never
out
get comfortable. As soon as you get comfortable, dude, you're back in the trenches.
everything, everything turns into crazy. But yeah, man, that's you are in a pretty cool place right now, You kind of have this freedom to make the decisions like, hey, where do I want to go from here and what do I want to do? But
And I've
the
had so much
the
love, dude, this week. Like so many people that I barely even had contact with have come to my office and just been like, dude, it bums me out, but we're fucking proud of you. Like
right.
everybody knows, everybody
Isn't
gets it.
that fucking sad though? Isn't that
Yeah, so
sad that
sad.
we work in these environments where everyone's like, I wish,
Yeah.
let them go. Fucking be brave, pink
Yeah,
stink leg.
dude.
Go.
Yeah, dude. They're throwing a party for me next week, dude. I've left a million jobs and never had a party.
Yeah, because they're like, it can be done. It can be done. Or Kim's gonna like jump out of the cake and fuck kill you, like with
Dude,
an Uzi.
I'm gonna give her a fucking cupcake full of laxatives.
Or just get a bunch of like weed cupcakes, dude. Get a bunch of fucking weed cupcakes and be
I'm not
like,
wasting my weed on her.
I would. It might be the greatest thing to ever happen to her. You might save a life. You might turn her
That's,
whole
that's
existence
true,
around.
dude.
Yeah, you might turn and be like, there's just low weed in there. And she'd be like, you changed everything. For the next 2 years, she's just wandering around smoking fucking weed and feeling butterflies and shit, having a great existence. You never know, dude. I'm gonna tell you one real weird story before we go. I'm sitting yesterday. I've got all this paperwork in front of me, and I'm sorting through all of our house stuff, taxes stuff, just getting shit organized. And my phone out of nowhere rings, and it's a FaceTime audio call from a friend of mine, an artist down in Port Huron. And we usually don't call like that a lot, though, you know. So it was a little out of the blue, but I'm like, okay. And so I just pick it up, and I'm like, "Yo, what up, brother?" And he's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Joe?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What are you? How are we talking to each other?" I said, "You just called me." And he said, "No." He said, "I was on the phone with my wife." He's like, "I don't know what happened." And before he could say anything else, and I don't even think I was thinking, and I was like, "Well, since I got you on the phone, dude," I was like, "Make sure you take a couple good breaths, dude. Relax, don't stress the fuck out." And he's like, "Bro, I was kind of fucking stressed the fuck out right now." He's like, "I don't know why my phone just did that." And I'm like, "I don't know either, but have a great rest of your day, man. Like, fucking, you know, carry on smartly." So every opportunity is just an opportunity to do something if you want to. You could be like, "Wow, that's fucking weird. I don't know. Our phones are being weird." Or be like, "Hey, you're here now. Fucking, I hope you have a great day. Take a breath, chill out. Maybe you need to hear that shit. I don't know." My
Beautiful.
phone
When it happens to me, I'm like, it wasn't me, dude. It was a pocket dial. So my dick must want to talk to you.
starts sending dick pics right away. Tick, tick,
Yep.
tick. All right. So, I don't know. I don't think we have planned anything for next week, and there's nothing because yeah. So we'll just figure something out. I don't know if we'll post about it. I don't know. Who fucking cares, dude?
Happens,
It's just
dude.
yes. For the people, for those of you that show up to this show, if you show up weekly, if you only show up one time, I hope you know that we don't really care about the social media.
Yeah, no, we do this because we love doing it.
We do it because we love doing it, and it might get to a place where there's no social media, no nothing, and even if there's only like one or two people, maybe even if there's ever nobody who ever listened to it, but we will keep showing up and investing that energy instead of investing the energy into like, oh, let's get as many followers as we can and shit like that. Oh, let's get as many fucking, we got to follow, do this, do that, and do the algorithm. We're just gonna try and put out a dope ass show every week.
Yeah.
And if you like it, share it with somebody. Be like, yo, there's this dope ass podcast that I like. And if you don't say dope, be like, there's this super neat thing that I really enjoy. Gotta be careful with how you move your hands in the air and shit nowadays.
Yeah, you do.
Do that one slowly.
But that's the pinky promise, dude. Pinky
Right.
swallows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That is.
pinky swallows.
So for the horror pop extravaganza, I have been Pops Ghostly.
I've been pinky swallows, baby. Gulp.
No! No! No!
Extravaganza.